right, guys. So we are streaming over on Twitch, and we had a really important conversation. Something actually that I think a lot of people really have to reconsider, especially if they're free to play. This is actually in talks of shard farming and affection. This is going to be relevant to those that, like I said, care enough to make sure that they're getting the maximized output as far as getting to their caps. Okay, now I want to start off by setting the premise here of what exactly has been happening and why, again, from testing and also actually calculating stuff, that it just makes more sense to do things this way, right? So one thing that's been being pushed quite often is to farm EX shards for your EX character, right? I'm pretty sure you've been told that, maybe in the Discord, maybe if you're on Reddit, wherever you may have been, maybe even in my stream, you may have heard that a few times, right? But one of the things that we are coming to find, okay, so we got to shout out the homie Saroshi for this one, okay, is that really ultimately, and this is kind of going back to like what you have to do as a free to play, which is focusing one thing at a time. One of your main goals is to hit caps. And this is mainly so that you don't fall into this pitfall of I'm focused on this one character, but nothing else is really developing on my account, right? So with that, the homie Saroshi came in, just be a Saroshi. He was like, yo, what's good, fam? What's going on? And then we looked at the characters, okay? He was talking about affection, and he was like, hey, guys, if you farm SSR, you'll hit your caps much quicker. Why exactly is that, you may say? Well, if we actually go over to the heart trial, okay, couple of things I want to note here, right? So to the point of farming your EX, yes, some people are doing it. Do I think they should be? Not necessarily, especially if they're free to play. Because number one, if you want to guarantee shards for your EX, you need to be level 20, okay? Number two, I've done sweeps where I've gotten 0 and it ain't feel so nice. So personally, I'm not telling anybody to do that. And also, if we're even going off of the ratio, which a lot of people were saying that they've been averaging, which is about 1 shard a day, for example, that would mean in 30 days, you would have 30 shards, right? For your EX character that you're basically farming for, right? Now, if we go to, let's say, an SR character, let's go to Siegfried, right? So the crazy thing about Siegfried is that obviously this is a free character that everybody starts out with. They give you the SSR plus. But one of the things that this game does is they do a lot of things that they're kind of almost telling you what direction to go in, right? So one of the things that you may have noticed is that there's this little like recycle button on her shards. So if we click that recycle button, you'll see here that it's going to be allowing you to change between the shards. And it didn't really make sense to me at first because I was like, well, this doesn't matter. They're both, it's SSR and SSR plus. But the biggest thing to understand is that in SSR, you can farm 2 shards a day, right? So this is her SSR version. Now remember, with her character base, she shares origin. So just taking up her SSR version still will transmute into her SSR plus version. So farming the 2 shards a day versus doing the singular shard if we're doing SSR plus is going to be way more efficient. Now, mind you, an SSR and an SSR plus, they both can go to max star rarity, right? Now, what's really important to note with this, again, is this is guaranteed per sweep, right? So per sweep that you do, it is guaranteed. Now, if you also have this unlocked at level 10 on affection, this is going to be essentially 3 sweeps that you can get on your account. Now, there's a few different methods that you can do this. The homie Saroshi was mentioning how he was doing affection up to 5 to boost up his affection score or his overall, what do we call this now? Total affection, right? So that he can have more opportunities to do sweeps. So it would increase the number. But one thing you could also do as well is taking a character to 10, and then at that point you get 3 sweeps a day for that character, right? Now, let's talk about the math component of this and why it makes more sense if you're free to play. If you're free to play and you're doing this at a interval of 2 shards, okay, guaranteed, right? And you're doing that for 30 days, right? So it's 2 shards and you'd be multiplying that by 30. That's going to equal, Well, no, 6 shards. Sorry, it's 6 shards. So it's 6 shards times 30. My math was way off there almost. It's going to be 180 shards, okay? So with that being the case, this means that if you didn't divide that by 60 shards, because that's what one copy equals, you essentially can get, what's that, 3 copies right there? Off rip, right? So that is like a crazy, crazy difference in comparison to per month, you're getting just the 30 or half of the shards. Now I'm getting 3 copies. Now, even if we were to go and do the math on an SSR Plus, an SSR Plus would still be guaranteeing you 3 shards a day, right? But it would be the same 30 days, and then you would be getting 90 shards. So it's about a copy and a half, right? But the point is that you're trying to get to the point of hitting your caps or your at least a maxed out for each class as soon as you possibly can, because then you can start plugging in your characters much, much sooner. And then you're only worried about the bases. You're not worried about fodder and needing all this fodder. And I know somebody's going to say, because somebody said it in chat, unironically, that, well, you're going to be fodder gated, whereas like, no, you're not. Because take, for example, another character, one of the best characters to probably do this process for, is actually going to be Gorgon. And I got to find my Gorgon. I don't know where the hell she's at, but, oh, here she is. All right. So Gorgon. Okay. Why is Gorgon going to be one of the best characters for this? Well, because if you were doing the 6 shards a day at level 10 for her, and then you're also doing the 10 shards a day, which it is guaranteed for you to be able to buy those shards every single day, right? That's going to be 16 shards a day, right? And so right here, is it this one? Nope, it's this one. So 16 shards a day, right? So it's 10 that you get from here, 6 from the affection. And so if you multiply that same 16, right, by 30, you are now getting 480 shards in a month, right? That's just your archer, okay? So with that being said, again, dividing that by the 60 shards required for one copy, that's going to be giving you 8 copies a month for this one character. You can blast her and be done with her, right? So one of the things I really want to emphasize, because I'm not perfect, I was messing this up too, is that you want to focus your bases and get these characters out of the way, because then the rest of the game is going to open up for you. And as a free-to-play player, you're really looking at what's going to be the maximized value versus like the bait, right? And I guess that's the best way to put it. Even one thing, again, shout out to Sorochi once again for mentioning this, everything in here is kind of bait, right? Like the mythic tickets, bait, right? There's another character in here, the Queen of Egypt. That is going to be another character that you can also swing into this process, affinity tenor, and then now you have this other character that you basically can rotate into your cycle. And this is like one of the things that when we're looking at the classifications of these characters, for example, the game gives you. They give you Oberon, who's fairly easy to do this process with. They give you Siegfried, who's very easy to do this process with. So that's your tank. That's a warrior. If you do, say, Cleopatra, then that's going to be a mage. And then if you do Gorgon, that's an archer. So you're basically in this position where you have so much more power push on your account and accessibility, because now you can, like, say, for example, I hard push this character, because even something I'm changing now on my wish list, I'm trying to get these characters done as quickly as possible. I want Gorgon and Cleopatra done as quickly as possible, because then guess what? Now for my resonance level share or star share, it is going to have these slots open so that I can take these characters completely out. I don't got to think about them no more. And then I can put other characters in here. So that frees up 2 entire slots for me. The other thing that's really nice about this is because they're easier to do, it's going to allow me to get more value out of my SSR pluses. So with my SSR pluses, I can take these, I can plug them into the resonance level, right? And a lot of people probably aren't even thinking about that. I don't have to have my units that are SSR plus be the main basis of the stars. They can be the characters that are also being utilized in the star system itself, right? So I'm gonna show you guys what I mean by that, right? So for example, I have on my star resonance right now, my fairy queen is being plugged in, right? So I have her plugged in here so I don't have to put the fodder into her. And this is something that is just going to alleviate that entire pressure of having to have all this fodder, having to have all of these bases, because the thing is that you'll be first getting your cap max, and then from there, unlocking these slots. So another thing that really wasn't thinking about too much is that each of these slots for the extra third slot is going to be basically an extra 120 slime for the very first one. And then the next one, if you hit Rezo 2, is going to be at Rezo 3, right? But let's just say hypothetically I had 120 to buy. This would mean that I would be able to open this slot up, and now I can slot in another character. That's now another character at whatever my star resonance cap is, that if I have the bases, that's another basically maxed out character. So when you're looking in the grand scheme of things, the entire premise of this is that you're basically trying to expand the diversity on your account, but you're also boosting your overall power at the exact same time. And you're doing it in a manner of which where you're literally cutting down the time. I would even argue if you were like farming the EX instead, you're probably like anywhere from times 10 to times 100 you hitting your cap, right? Because if you focus on an EX, the problem is as at least as a free to play, it's only a singular unit, which is kind of the main issue. It's only a singular unit. But if you are looking at these other characters, you're expediting a process, but you're also in the same breath opening up your account for other characters of that same class much, much quicker. So there are a lot of things that we are all sitting here looking at each other like, are we about to reset? No, don't reset. You don't have to. I'm going to be working through my own account to revert a lot of this process because it is way more efficient, right? Now, I wanted to make sure I got this video out to not only you guys, but again, I know chat appreciates this information too, because again, a lot of us, I'm looking at this chat of almost 100 people where we all have been like looking at each other like, dang, dude, like I'm about to go switch some things up. So I'm almost certain that most of the free to play have been doing these types of things. The main thing is get your caps done, right? So that you can expand the game for yourself, and then you can start focusing and honing into more of the other areas of the game. Oh, I want this character, right? I can go and get this character. Now, the other thing you also have to remember too is that you can always farm shards of some of these characters. So if you find yourself in a position where it's like, I can't go for the whole character right now, you can always get a copy of them. We've seen how strong copies are for even balance mode. That is going to allow you to have value there. But the long term, you can still even farm an SSR Plus much quicker than you can an SSR EX, right? So yeah, guys, do what you will with that information, but just TDLR is going to be more efficient for you to basically use SSRs as your basically as your star openers or star setters for your account. And then you can alternate into whatever else at that point, because eventually, ultimately, you're going to be able to basically get everything on your account. Again, it's an idle game, so you should be able to realistically get shards from auction as you're getting them, building up characters in the background. But most importantly, you're not going to be falling behind when it comes down to the power aspect of the game. So yeah, that's basically that, guys. Again, chat is over here talking about big new accounts. But either way, that's that, guys. Let me know what you guys have been doing. Make sure you guys come through to the streams, man. Twitch.tv/ZoxFam. I'm not saying that so that, I can take up all your time. I do feel like there's a lot of valuable information that comes through here that really, really helps a lot of players, including myself. I'm still learning it. And I think that that's the best thing about this game is that so far it's been super, super heavy in the community aspect, which is really what I've been enjoying the most. So again, you guys know me. I do apologize if you guys feel like you've been going the wrong direction. Again, I'm going to make sure you guys get better content, but that's basically that. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Everybody stay blessed. I'll catch you guys in the next one.